Get this thing set up. See if my sound on. Hey, y'all let me know, can you hear me? See if you could hear me. Tried to plug in a little mic on here. Wanted to pop in and record this little video, just make it a little easier for myself. Record the video here versus, okay, you can hear me. All right, thank you. So listen to me. Now, I made a couple of posts, a couple of reels, and on there I took and posted about, I was talking to the men, and I commented on a post. I never comment on posts, but I say, you know what, I'm gonna have to start speaking up a little more. I'm gonna have to start saying something a little more, because we ain't got enough positive voices. We got so many negative voices, and we got so many broken voices. We got so many voices that have not healed and are not seeking healing and talking. Because when you hurting, you loud. When you hurting, you very loud. A lot of times when you healed and you whole and you healthy, or you in pursuit of that, you a little more quiet, because you either doing the work or you reaping the benefits of the work. But when your toe stepped on, you holler. When you got a cut, you holler. When you hurting, you holler. And so we don't have a lot of healed people that's talking, because when you heal, a lot of times you minding your business. And I commented on Charlemagne post, and they have to be open. It's the Breakfast Club. I done been on there when I was promoting the book, and they got to bring everybody on there. They got to be equal and fair. Can't just have one-sided conversations on there. But he had a brother on there from the podcast. I think this brother got his own podcast, and the brother said he's not going to ever be in a relationship. He's not going to be in a relationship, and he's going to tell women that he's not going to be in a relationship with them, just them. And he's going to be open and honest with them. And he's also going to not try to control the woman. The woman could do what she want to do. Like, she could sleep with who she want to sleep with. And I'm just like, Lord. And the question is begged to be asked, how is this helping us? Like, how is this helping us advance as a people? How is this helping us advance as a culture? How is this helping us build family? How is this helping us build generational wealth? Like, essentially, and then what the brother was saying is he finna be the man. And it's crazy how we live ignorant for a laugh. That we be ignorant to make somebody laugh. And the man say he finna be the man that his mother never had. Meaning by just being straight up and being honest. And it's like, nobody mama want a man to come and tell her, you are not worthy of a relationship with me alone. I'm going to sleep with you, and I'm going to sleep with other women. I can guarantee you, without having met his mama, that ain't what she was looking for. What she was looking for is a man to tell her, I love you, you are worthy, I'm going to marry you, and I'm going to be faithful to you, and I'm going to build with you, and I got your back. That's what mama was looking for. That's what every mama looking for. Ain't nobody who is in their right mind looking for somebody to come tell them that they're fixing to put their life in danger by sleeping with them, and eventually you're going to be sleeping unprotected. And if you sleep unprotected, then you really ain't got no real connection with the person if you always got to sleep protected with something on top of you. So what's the point of even being with somebody if you got to do that? So eventually you're going to be unprotected, or in the spur of the moment, you're going to be unprotected. And if you're sleeping with other people, somebody finna pass something. Somebody finna have something. Somebody finna, you passing a sexually transmitted disease or you passing a spiritually transmitted disease. And this is absolutely ignorant. And then the fact that the platforms is giving way to this level of ignorance, and the fact that 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 19-year-olds are hearing this, and then they're going to hear this and say, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Let me just operate from my flesh. Let me just operate from my lust. Don't you think every man, not every man, but don't you think millions of men want to be with multiple women? It's like, we all, everybody, and probably women too. Probably a lot of women get tired of smelling the same man breath, looking at the same man beer belly, dealing with the same man attitude, dealing with the same man body, scent, touch. It probably women want to switch it up sometime too. Get to know somebody else too. But we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility as humans, as adults, as people to sacrifice, to crucify our flesh, to die out to our flesh, to die out to that lust, to crucify that lust and say, I'm going to be responsible. Because, and this is the crazy thing with adults being selfish, because adults are saying, hey, I want to sleep around and be with multiple people, but that's not what you want for your daughter. If your daughter came to you, and if you sleep around, eventually you're going to get somebody pregnant, and they may be so lonely and so hurting that they're not going to take that baby life. They're going to bring that baby into the world. And so if you don't want that for your daughter. And that's the hypocritical thing about men, is some of these men want to stick their thing in multiple women, but then want to raise their daughter to be classy and to be a one man woman. Don't want their daughter to have no body count of more than 1, 3, 5, but yet want to set an example of being loose, non-committal, and it makes no sense. And the thing about it is, if it don't move the story forward, then you got to cut the scene. But what we doing today is we are wallowing in our weakness. We're wallowing in our flesh. We're wallowing in our immaturity. Like we falling down and not getting up. We breaking our own legs. We breaking our own legs and asking why we can't get ahead. We breaking our own legs, then looking at another race or another group of people and saying, why do they have so much ownership in the city? Why do they have so much generational wealth? Why do they have so much say so? Why do they have so much power and pull? It's because they are sacrificing and they doing what it takes. They crucifying their flesh and they being responsible adults, and they doing what it takes to move the ball down the field. They doing what it takes to get ahead instead of just operating from their weakness, from their trauma, from their pain, from their past. And so essentially when the young man said that, it's what he was saying in Manglish is, I'm afraid. What he was saying in Manglish is, I don't know how to love. I don't know how to treat a woman, because I've never seen a man treat the woman I love the most, my mother. I've never seen a man treat her the right way. So instead of learning how to treat a woman the right way, and instead of treating a woman the way I wish a man would have treated my mother, I'm going to be just the 2.0 version of the man who mistreated my mother. So I'm going to hurt women the same way men hurt my mother, but I'm just going to tell them up front that I'm going to hurt them. Meaning, I'm going to tell them up front that they're not worthy of my love and monogamy with me. I'm going to tell them up front that I'm going to sleep with them and I'm going to sleep with other women, and they're welcome to join me in this pity party of ignorance and sleep with other men. I'm going to tell them, this is what these brothers are saying, that they're going to tell women, essentially in Manglish now, not English, in Manglish, they're essentially telling women, hey, I am lost without a cause. And I don't know how to be a man. So I'm going to be a grown boy and I'm going to operate in the fantasy land of a 13-year-old orphan boy who has no guidance in his life. And whatever he dreams up from his pain, from his trauma, I'm now, as a grown man in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, going to live out this 13-year-old orphan boy's dreams by sleeping with multiple women, committing to none, starting a family with none, being responsible to none, being responsible for none, and then I'm going to take advantage of the adversary system and use ignorance to gain a platform, and then I'm going to share the ignorance with the world to then confuse or convert those who are hanging in the balance without a mother or without a father or without guidance or wallowing in their pain. That's what these men and women are saying. And it's women who saying that they cool with it and they signing up for it and that they don't want to be with one man and they want to be able to do what they want to do. But anytime you look in the history, none of these people come from a healthy, whole, loving home. When you look at the history, you see sexual exploitation in their past. You see abandonment in their past. You see rape, molestation. You see abuse. You see these different things. And it might not be all of them, but it's at least one of them. And you see them as an adult not go seek help. And it's kind of like the villain in the comics. They say, hey, I'm hurting. But instead of trying to go team up with the Avengers and like heal, I'm going to just bring destruction. And I'm going to bring destruction with a smile. And I'm going to make destruction sound good. And that's what the devil did. That's what the adversary did. If you look at DC and Marvel Comics, it's all good versus evil. It's all like the Bible in comic characters. It's the good saying we trying to do the right thing and save the world, but sometimes we are vilified and we seen as the bad person when we trying to do good and help. And then the bad saying, I want to destroy the world because I'm hurting, because I was abandoned, because people turned their back on me. So now I am in pain and I want to cause more pain. But I'm going to do it with a smile and I'm going to laugh and I'm going to recruit other people to do it with me. And when you think about the adversary never says anything that is blatantly ignorant. The adversary never says anything that just makes no sense at all. The adversary quotes scripture. The adversary speaks with sense. The adversary sounds educated. The adversary sounds convincing, and that's why millions of people are walking the broad road. That's why millions of people are living the life that the adversary condones, because it sounds good. It sounds logical. It seems like it makes sense, but it actually makes no sense at all in the grand scheme of things. When you ask yourself, how is this moving us forward? It's not. It's stalling us and it's pushing us backward. It's not moving us forward, because if a man is unwilling to be in a relationship, then that means he's unwilling to cultivate love. That means he's unwilling to have children with a woman and be married to her and set an example for those children in the household. And that's what we have to realize. I'm gonna turn the comments on just so I can see if my sound go out. And so I need you to understand that we have to come to a place where we do the work, where we get the knowledge, where we sit down and we converse, with people that's across the table. Like all these guys and these women, I talk to them, but they don't. I talk to them. I sit down and have a conversation with them, and just really ask them a series of questions, and let them ask me a series of questions, and I answer the question and have them answer the question, and let's just have a dialogue and just see like where is this helping us? Where is this making sense? Like how are we getting ahead by just sleeping around and just not committing? Like what you have to do to move the ball down the field, it ain't always gonna feel good. It ain't always gonna look good. It ain't always gonna be comfortable. It ain't always gonna be easy. Like it takes sacrifice. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes dying out to self. Like it ain't easy. Like every day I have to punch myself in the mouth, and I gotta check myself about yesterday. And every day I gotta try to be a better husband and a better father. And yeah, I could sleep with 1,000,000 women. I could sleep with 3, 4, 5 women in a day. But what is that gonna do for my lineage? What is that gonna do for my spiritual health? What is that gonna do for my emotional and my mental health? Nothing. But what it will do is give me a high to numb the pain momentarily. And then as soon as the high wears off, the pain, the trauma, the nightmares, the fear, the past, and everything that I have been running from catches back up to me. So there comes a time that you have to stop running from the pain. And you have to stand, turn around, look the pain in the face, confront it, and then beat it. And you beat it with new knowledge, learning what you did not learn, learning what your father did not teach you, learning what your mother did not teach you, learning from healthy examples that maybe you did not have access to growing up. And when you get new knowledge, and when you look at the game plan, when you look at things in the grand scheme, then you understand that in order to advance my people, the human race, in order to leave a healthy, long-lasting mark on the world, I have to die out to self. Meaning I have to die out to my flesh. I have to conquer and crucify, consecrate my flesh. I have to grow. I have to learn, and I have to change. I'm going to have to commit to somebody. And I'm going to have to be faithful to somebody. Because what doesn't kill me may kill my child. Because what I have learned how to manage and how to deal with in the darkness, the confusion and the pain that I learned how to live with may destroy my son or daughter. So they're not learning the way I learn, but they are seeing what I'm doing. And if what I'm doing is not a healthy example for them to learn from, then I am destroying them firsthand. And if I am living, but I'm not trying to add to the world, whether it be through my purpose, through raising a family, through loving someone fully, completely, securely, then I'm wasting space. I'm living and dying as just another number. And that's not wise, because the Creator did not allow anybody to breathe oxygen and not have a purpose. Regardless of your timeline, not everybody gets the same amount of days on earth. But whether you get 1 second or whether you get 100 years, you have a purpose that moves the story forward. And so you have to ask yourself, am I moving the story forward? Am I with the Avengers or am I with the villains? What side am I on? Good or evil? Because in the end, the good wins. And we all have to stand before our Maker. And we have to take account and be held accountable for what we added to the world. No one is exempt. So when your Maker looks at you and asks you, did you accept your salvation that was sent for you? And you say no. Did you make the world a better place by promoting stability, healthy lifestyle, peace and happiness with those that you were created to coexist with? How as a man did you treat a woman? Did you convince her to settle for the backwards mentality that you adopted from your pain and your trauma? Or did you man up and accept responsibility for who you were called to be? Because what men have to understand and what women have to understand is we need to be the example for the next generation. We need to be the example for the young boys and girls, for the teens, boys and girls, whether you have kids or not. And we need to be able to ask ourselves, if I gave the next generation my lifestyle, will it hurt them or help them? Will it be a catalyst or a crucifixion? Because how we learn how to manage and deal with our pain might destroy those who are watching us. So I could go sleep around with a bunch of women, but if my son take after that, one of the women might stab him and take his life. Like how Steve McNair, the NFL quarterback, lost his life. How we just mentioned the rapper who lost his life from the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend or the baby daddy of a guy he was sleeping, of a woman he was sleeping with. The wages of sin is death, and fornication is a sin. It comes with a price, and you're gonna pay with your body or you're gonna pay with your life. But you can't live contrary to the plan of the Creator and expect to make it out in a healthy way. When it's time for you to leave, you want to make sure that you have completed the work that you were created to complete, and that you move the story forward, and that you left a positive mark on the world. Not that you were paralyzed by your trauma and paralyzed by your fear, and that you were stuck. And in being stuck, you then started to go backwards. And in going backwards, you then decided to take hundreds or thousands or millions of people with you. And I commented on Charlemagne post what the brother said, just because it made me sick to my stomach. It made me sick to my stomach. And I'm a grown man who slept with over 100 women by the age of 21. So you would think that what he said would make sense to me. It made me sick to my stomach because I understand the error of my ways. I understand the ignorance in my former stance. I understand that I was operating from weakness, from insecurity, from immaturity. So now when I hear men in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s peddling it's painful, because the baby's watching this. These babies watching this. And so this is the thing. God ain't get no man no podcast. God ain't get no man no Fortune 500 company. God ain't get no man no radio show. God gave a man a woman. God gave a man, a woman, and dominion over the earth. So when you face God, God gonna say, how did you treat that which I gave you? Did you commit? Did you surrender to love? How did you treat that which I gave you? I ain't give you no podcast. I ain't give you no company. I gave you a woman. Because what you're supposed to do is make sure that the human race is protected and prepared for the advancement of the people. So if you sowing your wild oats beyond the age of understanding, you're not doing the work that you were created to do. You're going against the grain. You're working against the system. And it's a price to pay. It's a price to pay. And see, sometimes we're not going to pay the price. Sometimes our children going to pay the price. Sometimes our family members going to pay the price. And we got to wake up and realize and understand that we have a responsibility. And your responsibility isn't just to tell your truth. Your responsibility is to get in line with the ultimate truth of your Creator. It ain't about your truth. Your Creator don't care nothing about your truth. God don't care nothing about your truth. God don't care nothing about your feelings and what you feel like doing and what you scared to do. What you put here to do. You got a mission to carry out, and it's not to sow your wild oats and to be using the body of other humans for your pleasure. That ain't what we're here for. The work bigger than that. And see, that's why we can't really get no real seat at the table. That's why we can't get no real seat at the table, because when you come to the table, the men from other walks of life, the men from other nationality, other races, they looking at you like, well, you can't even control that little thing in your pants. You here to utilize that thing in your pants. And that thing in your pants introducing you to so much distraction and so many different spirits and so many different detours that you can't even get to the so-called bag you say you want to get to. You worth 1% of what you could be worth if you understood focus, if you understood sacrifice, if you understood responsibility, if you understood community, if you understood marriage, if you understood the family unit, you could get much further than where you are. But because you operating from your loins, you flying by the seat of your pants, and you allowing your little head that's between your legs instead of the head that's sitting on your neck to direct you, you broke, busted, and disgusted in comparison to the people that's at the table. And then we perpetuating it. Those with a platform is perpetuating it, and then men who got a platform is so worried about being liked by other men that they afraid to show up in the comments or the likes of a message that's talking real sense, but will be the first one to hit like on some ignorance, because men worried about the boys club and the fraternity and being able to dap up and hang out and smoke cigars and smoke weed and get drunk and go to the strip club and play video game and sit and shoot the breeze, that we not focused on advancement. We're not focused on purpose. And then the people with all the sense, the people who doing all the talking still don't understand the power of unity in family. So it's brothers out here who calling themselves Pan-Africanists, Muslims, 5%ers, agnostic, Christian, Jehovah's Witness. But the one area we keep failing in is finding a woman, loving that one woman, reproducing or adopting with that woman, sacrificing, committing, loving, and building with that woman, and then teaching our mindset, our ways to the children that's under our roof, and now rewriting the story and pushing a different narrative and changing the trajectory of our families by healing instead of continuing to operate from brokenness and pain. This is what we got to realize and understand. We as men, we so worried about being liked by other men and being praised by other men and being looked up to by other men that we prefer to please man than God. We'd rather be liked by man than God. We'd rather be loved by man than God. And that's what the Bible talk about. We are lovers of ourselves. We are lovers of other men. It's men who lovers of other men. It's men that's more focused on a bromance, more focused on they boys, more in love with they boys, but cannot advance the ball down the field with they boys. Because a man can't have your child. A man ain't gonna be able to help you raise your child. You shooting dice, you in the strip club, you in the casino, you in the studio, you in the locker room, you in the boardroom with other men, and that ain't doing nothing for your legacy or your lineage. Because you ain't got no children, whether they come from you or whether you adopted them, that's going to carry your last name in a way that is responsible and respectable, in a way that's going to make a difference in the world. Because as men, if we unwilling to heal, if we are unwilling to grow, if we are unwilling to be separated, to then be elevated, we're going to continue to lose. And we will forever be behind the 8 ball. And every man, down to the man, needs to start accepting responsibility for the role that you're playing in the world, for the messages that you're putting out on your platform. And if you're going to put some ignorance out, then you need to bring the other side and put that out too. So at least when you stand before your maker, you could say, I created a fair space for dialogue, and I let those who watch choose which way they're going to go. But I didn't just have one narrative. But see, today, as men, we got so many. I see my sound still on, so I'll turn comments back on. Today, as men, we suffering and we're losing because we care so much about being liked by other men. By being liked by other men. And as men, we do not want to be confronted. We do not want to face any other message that is opposing to our message. We want to be comfortable. And the thing about it is what I'm seeing as men is we don't have any real men. We don't have men who got a platform, who have a voice, that want to be faithful to one woman and want to praise and promote that woman and want to hold themselves accountable before God and before other men and hang their hat on how they treat their woman. We got men who want to be praised on how well they produce a podcast, on how well they do radio, on how well they play with their balls, how well they bounce a ball, throw a ball, catch a ball. We got men who want to be praised by other men for having a bunch of women, for being able to win in the casino, for being able to smoke the most weed, for being able to pop the most pill, for being able to drink the most lean. That's what we got men today wanting to do. That's not moving the story forward. We got grown men in their 50s seducing the mind of women in their 20s. We got men in their 50s who refuse to marry one woman and build a life and a family with that woman. But we got men who want to have multiple kids from multiple women and not be able to be a father to any of those kids. You ain't no better than a sperm donor. You ain't no different than a sperm donor. You're not creating legacy. You're creating pain because you're bringing children into the world that you're not a healthy role model for. You're not responsible for them spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. You're only responsible for them financially. So the kids dying spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And we got men who don't want to find stability in their household. All we want to do is chase a bag. And so our sons hit the age of 11 and 12 and then are confused about their manhood because they did not see the masculinity of their father. So they confused about their manhood because their father was focused on business. Their father was focused on a game. Their father was focused on some chains. Their father was focused on chasing a bag that their son would rather be a woman. So we got boys at 11 years old, 12 years old, 13, 14, 15 saying, hey, I would rather be like my mama than be like my daddy. I was born a man, but now I want to wear heels and makeup and lipstick because the consistency that I saw was a woman, not a man. That's what we got these young boys saying. And then we got Disney want to promote it, want to clap it up as if this was a real educated choice. No, this was a lost and confused boy who did not have a real role model of a man. We don't know how we feel as men in our 30s, 40s, 50s. We can't identify our feelings. So how do we assume that an 11-year-old, 12-year-old is so in touch and in tune with his feelings? He touch and go. He reacting. He a leaf in the wind because he don't see real men. But see, this the thing. See, the adversary is wise. The adversary is wise. People think the devil dumb. The devil ain't dumb. I just got called for a TV show. And they took on the TV show. And what they wanted me to do on the TV show is they wanted to discredit my brand. They wanted me to water down my beliefs. So they wanted me to be a part of certain scenes that are directly contrary to the Holy Bible, the book that I read and live by. And what that will do in the public eye is that will discredit me. Because it will say he says he's a Christian, but he's doing what those who worship Satan do. So we can no longer hear him. See, what we don't understand about the adversary is that's how it works in the spiritual realm. So I didn't do those scenes that went against my religion. And now they playing with my money. So now what they supposed to pay me, they pay me half of it. And it's talking about they sent the rest of taxes. That ain't even a tax bracket to take out over 50% of the money. But that's how the adversary work in the spiritual realm. And they threaten you with lawsuits if you speak up and talk. And they don't care if it's black on black. Because we got that black on black crime in the streets. So they don't mind black on black crime in the courthouse either. They don't mind that. But see, that's how the adversary works. But see, a lot of people don't understand. But see, God sent me into that realm. God sent me into those trenches to see, let me show you on this level what the adversary is doing. Let me show you what the adversary is finna introduce the world to. Satanic worship. And see, people think the devil dumb. The devil ain't dumb. The devil know the scripture. That's why every man who is displeasing to God willfully, who has a platform, sounds good and makes a lot of sense. That's why when a man goes on a nationally broadcast syndication and spews brokenness from pain, trauma, and ignorance, it actually is sweet sounding music to sore ears. That there is a whole group of millions of men and women who subscribe to brokenness, to trauma, to pain, and are willing to be an abomination to the face of God, because the plan as it's laid out on these platforms actually sounds good. The plan actually sounds good. To where those of us with common sense, those of us with a moral compass, those of us with a religious conviction, a righteous indignation, a moral foundation, we will question our own beliefs. We will take some time and question ourselves. And hold on now. Am I living? Is this worth it? Is this worth it? Being with one woman? Loving my wife and let my son see me love my wife? Is this worth it? Am I doing the wrong thing? Should I not be married to my son's mom? And should I be honest with her and tell her, hey, my flesh don't want to just sleep with you, but it want to sleep with other women too. So what I'm gonna do is just be honest with you, and I'm gonna sleep with other women, and then I'm gonna let my sons look at me and see that I felt that their mother wasn't worthy of monogamous love, and expect them to understand that, expect that to make sense to children. It ain't gonna work like that. So what they will become is that young man that was sitting on the Breakfast Club saying, I'm never gonna be in a relationship. And it all is because of what he saw. I guarantee you, it ain't a man in the world that got the meat game to please multiple women. It ain't. Men think that, but that's because men don't really talk to women. I have coached thousands of women. And one thing I'm going to tell you about women, they're not moved by ding-a-ling. It ain't no ding-a-ling in the world that's going to have no woman sprung. And the women that be on these podcasts hollering about certain ding-a-ling had no sprung, they for the streets. because they, like those men, have given into their pain. They have given into their pain. They have given into their trauma. They have given up any hope of ever having real, whole, healthy love. So they say, let me just be a sexual object instead of being a human with a heart. Let me let go of my desire to be loved and to be worthy and to be enough for another human. And let me be okay being a piece in someone's life, being a pawn on their chessboard. That's what it is. We hear so much brokenness. But listen, whatever podcast you listen to that you ain't seen, that you haven't seen me on there, DM them tonight. And have all your friends and family DM them. And say, hey, you brought on such and such who said this right here. Bring on Tony Gaskins. And then and then the ones that reach out to me, I'm gonna go talk to them. I'm gonna fly to them on my dime. I'm gonna pay the plane ticket. I'm talking about real platform now. Don't y'all be writing me with them 2 followers. Listen, keep working. You got to put the work in. Come on now. I'm gonna go to them. Regardless of their stance, regardless of who they are, regardless of how they move, regardless of what they believe in, how they live, I'm going to go to them. I'm going to sit on them. We're going to have a dialogue. And I'm telling them, let's do dialogue live so you don't be editing and cutting stuff out. But see, that's how the adversary moves. The adversary control the airwaves. The adversary control the airwaves. If I was a rapper, it'll be 80,000 people on here. It'll be at least 4,000 people on here if I was a rapper. But that ain't how it works. So see, people think the adversary dumb, but let me tell you what the adversary does. The adversary gives a platform, like a worldwide platform, to people who sound good, but really are not good for us. Meaning, people who can say stuff that sound like it makes sense, but their brand and their lifestyle and their history and their past and the way they move has discredited them in the eyes of the masses, so they really cannot be taken seriously. They really cannot start a movement. So that's why the adversary is okay with giving certain voices a Sirius XM radio show, a iHeart radio show, a TV show, because they can see, yeah, they're going to say some of that religious stuff. Yeah, they're going to say a couple things that sound good. Yeah, they're going to fake like they down with they people and they with the movement. But really, we can control them. Really, they a pawn. And really, we got so much dirt on them that if they ever start to really make a movement, we just gonna leak that past. We just gonna leak that past, because that past so filthy. Whatever they try to do, it's gonna erase any good. See, the way the adversary works is the adversary opened doors because he got the keys to the doors. The adversary was given this here earth, was given free reign on this here earth, could move how he want to move. So the adversary owned the doors. The adversary owned the buildings. That don't mean God ain't in the midst. That don't mean God ain't gonna send nobody in there. But the adversary owned the media. The adversary owned the outlets. So what the adversary gonna do is he's going to take somebody who is cubic zirconia. He gonna take somebody who is gold plated. He gonna take somebody that's an Eminem. tough on the outside, soft on the inside. He gonna take somebody that lived the right way for the public eye, but the wrong way behind closed doors. And he gonna give them a platform, and he gonna give them enough influence, and he gonna give them enough voice, and he gonna get them to the top. He gonna move them all the way to the top. We call it blessings, but it's really a snare. But you'll hear the people get on stage and say, I like to thank God. God ain't got nothing to do with that. If you ain't living for God. I was around a woman, she kept saying, God, 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 but then sat down with a psychic and a medium. I'm like, that's not God. God ain't got nothing. God ain't coming nowhere near you if you're dealing with a psychic and a medium and an astrologer, according to the Holy Bible. Now, according to social media, God is okay with your horoscopes and your zodiacs and your astrology, according to social media. But according to the Holy Bible, God directly opposes it, because he don't want us to seek answers from man. He wants us to seek answers from him. He don't want us to find out about our future or guesstimate our future based on the stars. He wants us to walk by faith and not by sight. But see, as humans, we are afraid of the unknown. So that's why humans read horoscopes, to tell them how they are supposed to act in this day or in this month or in this season. And that is directly opposition to faith. Faith requires that you walk without being able to see every crevice of every corner. Faith requires that you believe in the unseen. Faith requires that you trust. But see, as humans, we have to have all the answers. So that's why we turn to man. And man, meaning man and woman, can literally be blowing smoke up your behind with them tarot cards, with them signs, with them wonders. If you recall, when God sent somebody and gave him a power or her a power, like when Moses had that staff, the wizards and the magicians could make their staff do the same thing. In the spiritual realm, the adversary emulates what God does. And that's what people don't understand. So you have a man that sounds like he has a plan, but he's unmarried, or he keeps going through divorces, and he's in fornication, or he's in adultery. So he has a plan for the people, but he's not executing the plan himself. That's what the adversary like. Cubic zirconia. That's what the adversary likes, gold plated. That's what the adversary likes, so that if this man ever take a pill that make him want to do right, the adversary gonna leak it on him. This how he really living. This what he really doing. So now, as he done got to the top, and he got all these people to the top with him, the adversary come and just push everybody in their back. Woof. And we watch them fall. That's how the adversary works. That's why it is better to be unknown, or better to be homegrown, or better to be slow grown, and to be doing it the right way, so that when you finally arrive, you will have longevity. See, I made every mistake that a man could make. With women, in the streets, life in general, I made all the mistakes. But what God did is, God had me get distance from my mistakes. God had me live, and he kept me in a way so that I didn't have a Bill Cosby story. He kept me in a way so that I didn't have like a fraud story, like doing scheming and fraud and building my business on lies. See, he kept me in a way, and he kept me to where I slipped up, where I made stupid choices in my marriage. God gave me grace, and he said, I'm not going to elevate you until you're removed from that. Until you come to a place to where you're willing and ready to be obedient, to where you're willing to die out to self. That's when I could elevate you. And I still ain't there. You know why? You know why I'm still not there? Because I'm still growing. I'm still growing. It was a production company came to me 10 years ago and said, we see you having your own talk show on ABC, NBC, or CBS, like one of them big four networks. 10 years ago, the producers of the Ellen DeGeneres show had me in their office. 10 years ago, I was sitting in Telepictures meeting with the VP. It's been years about my own talk show, and them wanting them to put me in a certain little lane to build me over time. But I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it, and I still ain't ready for it. I just went and did a TV show, and I still ain't ready for it. I could do it, but I still ain't ready for it, and not the way that they want to do it, and not how they want to do it, and not what they want you to do. I still ain't ready for it. I ain't ready to sell my soul. I got to do it God way. And people say God, but don't know God. If you don't read your Holy Bible, you don't know God. Or you know a different God. They ain't the God I'm on, though. They ain't the God I'm on, though. And see, listen. So it's going to take time. And see, this is the thing. I'm going to tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth. And this is why I respect Anthony O'Neill. And he brought me on his podcast. He didn't bring me on his podcast. I asked him, could I interview him for my podcast? And he said, okay, yeah, but if you coming, then can you do my podcast? And I end up not interviewing him for my podcast because I ain't really doing it actively. And so, but yet he still put me on his show. Now he put me at 30 minutes instead of an hour like he do the other men. And I told him that. One thing about me is I'm a real one. Every man that ever met me know I say what I'm thinking, and I'm very direct. It ain't a man you gonna meet that's gonna tell you that I'm not direct. And I done got in trouble in the past for trying to help too many people, and helping here, helping there, and getting stuck in the middle. And I done learned my lesson from that. But one thing I learned, I respect about the brother. I'm going to tell you, every single podcast, the way social media work, every single podcast that's a male-centered podcast, they know exactly who I am. They know exactly who I am. And the goal of a podcast is you got to have a different guest for every show. Guess what? They're not calling me, though. They ain't calling me. And the reason why they're not calling me is because of me separating myself. And so men will respect confidence in sports and respect confidence in the form of bars over a beat. But men fear confidence as it relates to relationships and family. When you ask a man to be faithful to one woman, and when a man know that that's how you live, and when a man see that your message is in direct opposition of what he may be doing behind closed doors with his woman or with his women, he can't give you his platform, because then you are light. You are light, and his woman is in the dark because he got a bag over her head, meaning that money. But when a woman see the light, then she start to move differently. But see, what a lot of men don't realize is my own message, I was living in direct opposition of my own message because I was learning as I was going. I was growing as I was going. So when I post a message, I literally learned the lesson the day before. So men feel attacked because I teach as I learn. And so men say, oh, he think he all that. He think he perfect. He talk down to us. He man bash. He pander to women. No, I tell the truth as I see it, as I know it, as I grow it. I share it because my tomorrow is not promised. So although I'm not perfect and I'm still in the process and I'm pursuing perfection, knowing that it'll never be attained, but like Vince Lombardi say, in the pursuit of perfection, you will catch excellence. So men could look at me and judge me, men who have seen my mistakes, have seen my flaws, have heard tell of my flaws. They could look at me and judge me, but don't realize that the person that they know is not the person that I am today. The person that they knew is not the person that I am today. And the man that I am today is not the man that I'll be tomorrow. And that's what I try to help men understand. Don't be a prisoner of your past. Don't be guilty of what you did yesterday. Because when you believe in God, you understand there are new mercies every day. So there's no need to hide your head in shame and to tuck your tail and to run from the real and be drawn to the fake. No, come to the light. Come to the light. And yes, the light is going to shine on your flaws. But when the light shine on your flaws, that's how you know what you need to do to grow. That's how you know what you need to change. That's what we got to understand. And it's too painful. And see, the thing about it is the podcast be an hour, hour and a half. But it's hard for us to listen to an hour of this right here. And see, I ain't talking with nobody. I ain't got nobody to talk back and forth. I ain't even got the comments on. And that's how I want you to know that I'm hearing from God. I ain't hearing from me. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I posted a reel today. Talking about the truth men don't want to hear. I posted a reel yesterday. I think it was. I posted a couple lives. I said some very real stuff in them lives. I've been wanting to delete all of it. All day long, I've been wanting to delete it. As soon as I'm done with these, I be wanting to delete it. I be wanting to delete it because it's too real. It's too real. It's stepping on my toes. Like, when you work for God, you understand that there's no perfect human. So anything God got you saying, you talking to yourself. Like, you stepping on your own toes. You stepping on your own toes. It was time to where my wife and my family and my friend had to tell me, hey, you got to take your own message about mindset, about growth. Because I flip a table. I snap. I go off. I get live quick. I had to take my own message. I'm still growing. I just did a TV show. Them people playing with my money. Listen, my flesh. Boy, look here. Them people be like, this Tony Gaskins? This at Tony Gaskins? Oh my goodness. I ain't know. Oh my goodness. I've been having to be in prayer. You hear me? I've been having to be on prayer. Oh, you know what? My sound done went out. I said my sound done went out. Y'all know how it works. My sound out. I can tell my bars ain't. You could hear me? Okay. See, what happened is on my end, it go to freezing. It'll go to freezing up and cutting out. Listen to me. So this what I want for us to understand that we in a time right now to where the good sound bad and the bad sound good. And the lost sound found and the found sound lost. We in that time. Left gonna look right and right gonna look left, up gonna look down, down gonna look up. And that's what we got to realize and understand. So you have to come to a place that you know who you are and where you are, what you call to. And you cannot allow the message of this world to dissuade you or persuade you to be in opposition of what you know is the life that you're supposed to be living. Last night, I seen a young man. He go around and he ask all these women. He asked Caucasian women. He's a black guy, a young guy. He asked Caucasian women, how many men you done slept with? And they like 18, 19-year-old women, 20-year-old women. And they saying they slept with 12 men, 20 men, 30 men. He asked them, are you faithful? They said, no, I cheated on my boyfriend 3 times. One of them says she done had 5 men run the train on her. He say, do men cheat more or women? They say women cheat more. They spreading this. Now, this a demographic now. This all Caucasian women he asking. But that's a demographic. But it's still, the message is so damaging because when men see it, it's going to make men think they can't trust any woman. My wife was asleep. And I was looking at my wife crazy. Knowing that she not like these young college girls this guy talking to. I was ready to tap my wife on the shoulder and wake her up. Hey, I got some questions for you. I got some questions for you. And that's how the adversary works. He uses this here media. He used this to reach us, to get us in this mindset to where we start questioning our morals. We start questioning our values. We start questioning ourselves. And so you could be raised one way and then you'll come to a place where you say, well, should I share my partner? Should I be sleeping with more than one person? Should I be having threesomes? Should I be doing drugs? Should I be doing fraud? Should I be scamming to get ahead? Should I be cutting corners? Should I denounce my religious beliefs to get ahead, to build a brand? Should I? You'll go to questioning yourself because of what's being put out there. So listen to me. Hey, I ain't mean to go this long. I said I was coming on here. I shot a video on this topic for 15 minutes and came on here and spirit went to moving. And for those, for the people who I deal with on this side of things in real life and we talk about this stuff, they already know. I'm an open book. When I'm going through something, when I'm learning something, I share it. My wife knows. She didn't learn by 9. I just talked to her the other day. I said, baby, listen, I'm finna go hard now. I said it might be a little season because when I go hard, you go into the spiritual warfare, and so then you got to take time away. So that's why I don't really post every day on social media. But then I post every day for a week or two, and then you might not hear from me. You might hear from me once a week, but it's because of the realm that I operate in. I don't operate in motivation. I don't operate in just fluff. I'm in spiritual trenches, and where our pastors should be, but not all of them are. But I'm in spiritual trenches, so the work is draining. The work is hard because it's a lot of opposition. It's a lot of people coming at you and tugging on the old you. Because you know how it is. When we talk to men, we be ready to slap the fire to each other. And so when these men start coming in my comments and all like that right there, I have to pray for temperance and for peace And I snap on a few of them and then have to delete the message and then have to ask for forgiveness and have to repent. And Lord, okay, you could use me, Lord. You could trust me. But so it's not the easiest thing in the world. And then also being in opposition, knowing that when I post a message, if I'm talking to me and I know the mindset that I have and I know the life that I desire to live for God, if I'm talking to me, then I know I'm talking to every man. And so what happens is men start to feel like, oh, you think you better than me, and it alienates me, it ostracizes me, it puts me against the world. And so that's why the message is so hard to carry. And don't nobody want to carry it. I remember the number one speaker in the world, as he called himself, I talked to him and he said to me, he said, man, you keep building the foundation of our world. Relationships. Guys will encourage me, but don't nobody want to help carry the torch. Because you understand, you become the one. When you living it and you really doing it and you doing it from passion and you doing it from purpose and you doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for money. It's painful. It's painful because everybody know you ain't telling no lies, but yet everybody will call you a liar. And so that's the hard thing. And then anything you do, you held to the fire, you know. I can't even really have no tough conversation with my wife. I can and I do, but if somebody heard it, they'll be like, oh, because they just think that my message mean that I got rose petals all over the ground in my house for my wife to walk on rose petals, and that I'm just sucking her toes all day, and that, you know, like people think that being a good man mean being weak or being ignorant or being soft or just being ran over. It's like, no, you could be a good man and still have respect in your home, still have tough conversations, still build something that's healthy and wholesome, and still gonna be tough to do. You could do that without being soft. And so people don't understand that, and that's what men get confused. Like, my wife will tell you, it ain't nothing soft about me. She'll tell you ain't nothing weak about me, ain't nothing a simp about me. She'll tell you that I have to sit before the Lord to make sure I'm talking to her the right way. She'll tell you that I have to do the work on me all day, every day. And that's where I teach from. But men take it as I'm perfect, or I think I'm perfect, and I'm talking down to them. I'm saying, no, I'm telling you what I have learned and what I've seen, where I'm going, and we need to go here because it's going to benefit us as a whole. So, hey, God bless y'all. And this lady called me Antonio. Man, my name Tony. My name not Antonio. And yeah, I used to just follow my wife, but it you know, thing changed. Gotta follow people because people start to take it the wrong way. Black Marriage Movement 1. Now, Black Marriage Movement, we supposed to go live here soon. We supposed to go live and do us a live chat. Because I appreciate anybody who trying to promote marriage. I love that. That's what I'm about, because I'm about the advancement of the human race. And you can't do that being single by choice. Now, it's different if you single by choice because it's not the season. And I'm talking to men. I ain't even talking to women on this, because women are waiting for the right man to approach them and speak to them, not go out and find a husband. Women waiting for a man to find a wife. So men who are single by choice for no other reason than wanting to sleep with multiple women, that's the wrong lifestyle to be living. Now, if you single because you doing the work of the Lord, you single because God got you there in that season, you single because you healing, you growing, you know, you preparing, that's totally different. But if you single to sleep around, you're doing the work of the devil. You're doing the work of the devil, and I guarantee it's going to be a price to pay. I guarantee you it's going to be a price to pay. And I said that before. And it's so unfortunate, you know. But the thing about it, people don't realize it. That's why I try to tell people all the time, the adversary sound good. The adversary sound good. The adversary make a lot of sense. The adversary going to say 70-80% of stuff that's spot on. But that 30% will kill you. That 30% will upend everything. That 30% will end it all. That 30% will send you to hell in a handbasket with gasoline draws on. I'm telling you, that other 70% be, woo, amen. Yes, woo, that's a word. And that's what people got to realize. You got to listen to the whole message. And then you got to see the whole messenger to understand who really about that life. Hey, God bless y'all. We'll talk soon.